Do you own a great mirrorless camera, but rarely feel like you have the time to really improve your photography? If you're a serious mirrorless camera hobbyist with a busy schedule, this video is for you. In this video, I'll show you how to create stronger, more intentional photos right where you are by working with light, angle, camera settings, not by chasing new gear or waiting for the perfect destination. As we walk through a few simple examples together, you'll see how small, deliberate choices can completely change how a photo feels. These images weren't taken on big trips or during long photo walks. They were made in short pockets of time using ordinary scenes and available light. And this isn't really about photographing flowers or trees. It's about training your eyes. So when you do travel or photograph people, places, or moments that matter to you, you're ready to see and use light efficiently. Let's start with something that many of you care deeply about, that dreamy background blur. Here are two photos of the same flower branch. In the first one, the background looks soft and dreamy. The bokeh is large, round, and very noticeable. This is the look many photographers chase, and it usually comes down from shooting at a very wide aperture. Now, let me show you something more interesting. Here are 4 photos, almost the exact same composition, shot at f1.4, f2, f2.8, and f5.6. Mostly like one full stop, and the last one is 2 stops apart. I want you to focus on one thing only, the size of the bokeh. As I dial down the aperture one stop at a time, the bokeh gradually shrinks. That's the part most people don't really talk about. Bokeh doesn't disappear immediately when you stop down. It changes in size and character. Now here's where decision-making matters. At f1.4, the background blur is beautiful, but the flower itself looks too soft. The depth of field is so shallow that even a slight misfocus makes the subject feel fragile. At f2, the bokeh is still large and dreamy, but the subject gains a bit more clarity to feel intentional. This is a sweet spot for this set of photos. At f2.8, still a very large aperture, the background is still blurred because there's a good separation behind the subject, but more background detail starts to show. And at f5.6, even though there is still some blur, the background clutter becomes noticeable and starts competing with the subject. So here's the real takeaway. The goal is not to shoot at the widest aperture all the time. The goal in this set is to slightly dial down, just enough to keep the dreamy effect without sacrificing subject clarity and without introducing unnecessary clutter. The sweet spot changes from scene to scene. This is why intentional practice matters. You don't need more time, just the right kind of repetition, even in small pockets of time close to home. Before we continue, a quick note, all the sample photos you see today were taken with the same camera, Sony a7 IV, and the same lens, my Sony 35mm f1.4. If you're interested in that lens, here's a video I shared with you in the past. Check it out if you're interested. Any difference in this video you see is coming down from decision, not gear. Now let's look at this next set. These 3 photos were taken from almost the exact same position, framing the same flower branch. In the first image, I'm shooting wide open at f1.6. You can see the large bokeh in the background, which normally feels dreamy. But in this case, because I'm shooting toward the light, the background is too bright. The bokeh is big and distracting. This is a very common issue in backlight photography, especially when the sky becomes overexposed. And it's something many people try to fix by simply dialing down the aperture a little. But here's another option, and it's a creative one. Instead of dialing down slightly, I stop down dramatically. In the second photo, I'm at f13. Now, the bright bokeh distraction disappeared, but the photo introduces new clutter, the metal fence in the background. And honestly, this image isn't very good at all. But now look at the third photo, still at f13, but I adjusted my angle slightly. The sun peeks through the branches, creating a clean sun star. And something interesting happens. The fence is still there. The background hasn't magically disappeared, but your attention shifts, right? Your eye is immediately drawn to the brightest part of the frame, the sun star. And the fence clutter in the background becomes almost invisible. This is important, especially for those of you who don't have fast lenses or enjoy landscape photography and were taught to live at f8 or f11, or were trained to prioritize tack sharp above everything else. These examples aren't about gear, sharpness, or rules. They're about seeing what light can give you. The key takeaway here is very simple. Don't ask what camera settings I'm supposed to use. Ask, what is the light doing? And how can I work with it? Many photographers think changing angles is all about composition. But once you see what happened in the previous example, you realize this. Your top reason to change angles is almost always light. Let's go back to that same flower scene. In the first photo, the background bokeh is large, but it's also bright and distracting. Your eye keeps getting pulled away from the subject. Now look at the second photo. I didn't change lenses or locations. I didn't fix anything in post. I simply shifted my angle slightly so the background became darker trees instead of bright sky. And the subject now stands out more effectively. Nothing complicated happened. I just removed the brightest, most distracting part of the frame by shifting angles. Here's another pair of photos that's probably easier for you to understand. They were taken in the opposite direction. In the first one, the flower is backed by a large patch of sky. The background is bright, flat, and competing for attention. And the second, the background became shaded foliage. Same aperture, shutter speed, but your eyes go straight to the flower. This is the power of changing angles with intention, not to find the better composition, but to control where the light goes. If you are a serious mirrorless camera hobbyist and want to improve your photography in the coming weeks or even coming days, you'll find more in-depth insights and practical solutions in my Document Happiness photography course. It's built around a simple, repeatable way to see, choose, and create stronger, more intentional photos designed specifically for people who don't have unlimited time, but still care deeply about quality. I'll leave the link in the description below. For now, let's keep going. Let's talk about something that trips up a lot of serious camera hobbyists: aperture versus focus. Many of you might favor fast prime lenses f1.4, f1.8, f2, and once you have them, it's tempting to shoot wide open all the time. And yes, a large aperture can create beautiful background blur, but look at these two photos. Both are taken from the same position with the same composition. The first one was shot at f1.6. The background is nicely blurred, but the subject looks soft too, because the depth of field is razor thin. Now look at the second photo. I dialed down slightly to f3.5, which most lenses have. There is still background separation, but the subject looks noticeably clearer. Now let's look at another comparison. Both of these photos are shot at f1.4. In the first one, I'm close to the subject. The result? Too much blur, even the subject. And in the second photo, I simply step back a little. Same aperture at f1.4. But now the subject looks sharper. The trade-off is that the subject becomes slightly smaller in the frame. And that's okay. If the subject reads clearly, you can always crop it in the post if needed. This is where a lot of amateur photographers get stuck. They try to solve every problem first by settings. But often, the easiest solution isn't setting related. And here's the real takeaway from this set. Aperture controls the depth of field, but distance controls how that depth of field behaves. When you find that balance, you stop relying on luck, rules, or settings, and start feeling intentional. And the more you practice this, even during a short walk close to home, the faster these decisions become. Eventually, you don't even think about aperture, shutter speed, focus, distance as separate problems. You just see the light and make a quick adjustment, and voila, get your photo. You see, all these examples were photographed in short neighborhood walks, no travel, no epic location, no perfect conditions, just light, awareness, and intentional choices. When you practice this way, even with ordinary subjects, you're training your eyes. So when you do travel or photograph people, places, and moments that matter to you, you're not guessing anymore. You're seeing and you're creating. Photography doesn't have to wait for a perfect trip or the perfect moment. When you train your eye to see light, focus, and small trade-offs working together, even in familiar places, photography becomes something you can return to again and again, no matter how busy life feels. If you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe and share it with someone who's interested in photography. And thank you so much for watching, and keep documenting what makes you feel alive.